Alright, let's go ahead and get started. So this will probably be the last day on the new account. The first day of the new experience, right, was getting up to speed, getting our first good rig, kind of getting into the game. Second one was kind of status quo for the most part. I think now we're about like starting 8 hours in right now. I guess the goal would be sort of starting to upgrade our innards to some extent. So, HUD's on. What we're probably looking to do today is actually like fully flesh out our innards. So, while people are joining, let me go ahead and start mass selling things. I don't believe I have a lot of money right now, but we should be able to get quite a few of these sold. Thankfully, most of them are pretty cheap, except for the left-hand items. What do we got here? Lockboxes? We still do have our extra totem. They definitely... One of the patches, they did remove the ability to stockpile these. So I am very happy we can stockpile them again. Now, that being said, we can't redo the quest again. So if this ever goes away, it's gone. Which is gonna make me very sad. And I think, too, I don't know if we get this back if we die in raid and pick it back up again. So, once it's gone, it might just be gone forever. Let's go talk, and let's get our screens here. I'm also curious, too, about, the actual plans for these items. Right now, most of them don't really have a benefit other than just being cool. Like the gun tree. We are poor again. Hey, Game Shift, how's it going? Yeah, we are a little bit out of money, though, it looks like. We don't have too much else to sell either. Let's actually go ahead and show what the totem does. It might not be immediately realized. This is kind of dangerous, too, I will say, but we'll make it work. And this is kind of like the prime use case, if you will, of the totem going ahead. It's a really good way to funnel units into kill zones. So let's go over, we have our mass man, let's get our nice rig going. And we're gonna need lots of ammo here. Hey, Alex. We're going to attract attention no matter what. Do we even just want to use a scar? I don't believe I have the nice magazine yet for this. That's kind of knocked it off of being able to be used right now. So probably just RPK. The reservation being right is I would love to use this, but we really need a drum mag for this because we're bringing in the totem. It's going to attract a lot of attention. So much attention. 762. We only have 500 rounds. We probably want some backup rounds then. And maybe we'll bring a scar as a backup. We can find 50 cal pretty easily in raid. Medkit wise, let's bring all of our medium medkits. Let's just bring all of our medkits, I guess. And then mech trench. And then elevator. Thanks, Game Shift. Appreciate it. So, the totem that we have here, if it functions like it did before, essentially, anything that's spawned on the map is going to start noticing us, even through walls. It is essentially like Cursed in Tarkov, where scavs just know where you are and want to murder the shit out of you. And it can be useful for funneling things into kill zones. Like, oh god, case in point. Open the door. Okay, the door, unfortunately, This isn't great, I will say, mainly because of I can't close this damn door. Why are the doors so bad in this place? Why door so bad? Huh, did they get stuck on the staircase or despawn perhaps? But no, it is. It is very aggressive. It makes them very angry. I need to get my advancement kits going. Enemy AI is much more deadly this time around, so... Every patch, they just up the damage and accuracy. Over and over again. This room is a lot better when you can close this door and just have one choke point one way, but oh man. It is rough when you cannot close that door. This door has killed me. But no, it is pure chaos. Stop shooting me in the back. I will say, their footsteps are really quiet. I need to close this door. Ugh, I hate this door so much. We could probably drop the totem, actually. That might give us a brief amount of reprieve from this bullshit, so we can loot around a bit. We probably need some medkits too. We should probably just go ahead and be slow in this for loot. Potato chips. So as you can see, it's fun, but like it is straight chaos, right? There are certain spawn points on the map. They've gotten better about it. Like, it was really easy to tell before, but like, no, there's definitely certain areas where if you play a map enough, you can tell where they spawn. Or have a good idea where they spawn. There's always a bit of variation now, too. So, for example, like, their anti-poppin' kind of, I guess, countermeasures will shift units to a different spawn if, for example, they're supposed to spawn in front of you. Thankfully, we can drop it, though, at least. That is actually kind of nice. Just bring it in, drop it when you want to loot. Pick it back up when you want to murder. You know, the amount of alcohol I'm seeing right now, if I didn't know any better, I would think these are cyborgs. So I hear a squad. Yeah, not coming up here, I don't think they're going by. Yeah, interestingly enough, right, they're only attracted to the totem when you're carrying it. They do not care if it's on the ground. Wait, things are just spawning in front of me. Wait a gosh darn second. I was looting those. 308, what the hell? That's nice. It's always so hard to find 308. Oh, it's M60. Yeah, we don't really see this very often. Thankfully, I will say, like, there is an inherent risk with doing the totem on this map, though. Another bag just spawned in front of me. That's so sad. If there is an exo in this main causeway, it can get pretty dangerous very quickly. You can just hear them yelling immediately when I pick it up. Stop being so upset with me. I didn't do anything on purpose. Oh, they're behind me too. Shit. Push forward. Leave me alone. What are the riders doing here? I need to drop you. I need reprieve. I need reprieve. It does make the game hit so much different, by the way. I love that thing so much. It like turns it into a horde shooter. But man, we are just burning through medkits left and right now. No, I don't want 5,000 different modifications game. So like, the reason why alcohol at least makes some degree of sense, right? It doesn't make sense, I would say, for Europa, but for Eurasia it makes sense, because Eurasia's whole thing, right, is they actually have plenty of food. It's more of a space issue for them. And so like, when you have excess food, you can do things like make alcohol. When you have a surplus of grain. I wouldn't say it makes a ton of sense for Europa to have. Maybe Europe can salvage it from cyborgs, which is why they could have it. But for the most part, right, like, seeing alcohol makes sense in regards to like, hey, they have a lot of extra grain production. Like in Europa's case, right, considering that their premise for them is like they don't really have a lot of food extra, they have to eat people to help with food. It doesn't make a lot of sense to convert grain into alcohol, but for Eurasia it does. Okay, I think it's time to leave. I'm not leaving my totem behind, but I'm getting a little low on ammo. Oh, they're up there too. Let me murder them. And depending on your context too, Rod and me, it's also a way, it's a storage medium, but it's also like, I guess that's by attention to storage medium, right? But it's also a way of like purifying or like, yeah, keeping, it's a preservative. Which I guess is like the same thing as a storage medium, right? But like, it's also a bit different, but yeah. It's useful, right? Bone Dust, the assault rifle has always been like kind of the mainstay, right? For the most part. I mean, there's cows around, right? Like, you have the cow balloons. So it wouldn't mean too far-fetched to think that, you know, fertilizers, cow, manure, all that good stuff. Yeah, RPK, like, most assault rifles are strong. Most assault rifles play the exact same for the most part right now, too. Yeah, rifles, like RPK, AK, M4, like SA-58, like all the rifles right now are basically your main go-to. And like right now, while they're still reworking guns, every single weapon for the most part functions pretty similarly. I will say one pet peeve I do have right now is that in the span of a single magazine, your gun goes from like a 5-inch spread to like a 20-inch spread. It's ridiculous. Essentially, the way they currently have automatic fire is like the longer you sustain automatic fire, the worse the spread of the gun is. And I don't mind that concept, but like, my main critique of the gun rework right now is it feels a lot better, but it feels like everything's been dialed up to 11. Everything feels like it's exaggerated. It feels excessive. Let me go ahead and make sure I'm on private too. Okay, yeah, so this is fun. I will say, like, I would probably, if you really enjoy the Tech Totem gameplay, you probably want to farm quite a few of them, because once you do the quest, you can't get another one, right? So like, if you do kind of enjoy the chaotic gameplay you just saw, you probably want to do this quest a few times. And by do this quest, I mean basically is like, you do the quest that gives you the totem, you do not turn it in, you move to your inventory, you go back into scrapyard and you pick more of these up, extract, and then repeat that cycle however many times you want to have these, right? Because once you do it, you can't get it again. And I would say too, right? Keep in mind what map you do with Tech Totem. In an open map like Mesa or Frozen Swamp, you're not going to have a good time. From their PR material, whatever, like their videos and stuff, like their marketing material. Why do you not have Nice Magazine? Why are you stock AK? I can fix this. I wonder, by the way, I wonder if it's still Doom Guy. I wonder if they fixed that. I guess let's find out. I'm not sure if they fixed it or not, but I would love to see if it's still Doom Guy. Let me go over to Heisenberg and buy some meds. I do. Usually every other Friday, Pi Bro, we go online for co-op. So like every other Friday's community stream. So next Friday will be a community stream where I open up the lobby. All right, we have our gun here. What map are we doing? Should be either this weekend or Monday. I'm gonna go ahead and hardlock myself in. If it's not over the weekend, it's going to be Monday. I will force myself to finish it Monday. And it would be this weekend, but I had a few things pop up this weekend, so I might be unfortunately away from the computer. But like, if it's not this weekend, it's going to be Monday. I'm going to hold myself to Monday. The script is essentially done. I just need to edit it. It needs a few more look-see-overs. I haven't really tried any multiplayer really yet on the new patch, so I have heard that's an issue. But I personally cannot speak to it, because I haven't really tried playing multiplayer yet this patch. But I have heard that's a common issue. Alright, we have our meds, we have our ammo, we have our quests. Should I bring a drill? Let me bring a drill just in case we need to drill into a container for that Clear Skies quest. Oh, so the issue, Pi Bro, is that like for some reason right now they default you to a public lobby, and say if you launch the game, or say if you go AFK, say if you walk away from the computer, if they didn't know better to turn their lobby on private, it's going to show up as a public lobby for you right now. And so you're probably just joining people who are AFK. It's probably why I think they shouldn't have the default state of lobbies be public.
I hate the surface.
You should have to opt in, not opt out. Because of the exact reason you're mentioning, right? You'll join people who are, you know, didn't realize they were on public, and they're just AFK. I don't know, Weaver. That's definitely like, it's... I would say having a good friendly AI is way harder than having a good enemy AI. So it's difficult, right? I imagine we'll essentially see them rework or try to fix the companions a bit, maybe rework the system a bit or add to it. But I don't think it's a very high priority, I would think. Like, it's cool, but like, oh, we're not Doom Guy anymore. Maybe it's just the RPK. I want to be Doom Guy again. I'll have to try the RPK and see if that was the one that was bugged. Yeah, technically speaking, if you tell them the whole position, they'll start actually actively fighting. If they're just following you, they won't fight until they're actually, like, you're fighting enemy units too. But no, like, there's a lot of different quirks and downsides to the AI right now for friendly AIs. And not enough utility, right? Like, I would probably suffer through, like, a pretty janky scav mule if I could, like, have it bring stuff into raid. Or, for example, if it had, like, gameplay loops around it, right? Say, for example, if the scav mule was, like, able to, like, you know, weld open doors or, like, just do more utility things, right? Imagine, for example, if, like, it could hack doors for you, it could open up or fix, destroy, disable doors, it could, say, salvage parts off of machines. Or, for example, passively pick things up from bags. Like, almost having, like, the scav mule be a trawler of sorts. You kill things, the scav mule follows you and sucks up loot. It shouldn't be fast, but, like, that's, like, I would suffer through maybe some jankier AI to have the utility like that, right? When I want a companion, I don't want it to help me shoot, I want it to help do utility things for me. I want it to be able to do something that I wouldn't be able to do alone. Why, Seven, they mentioned that in their latest Q&A, right? Like, it's definitely on their radar for, like, they definitely seem to be the type of developers, right, where if they ever end of life a product, they're going to add mod support before they do it. Hey, Avio, I think it's fine. Like, it's a step in the right direction. Is it personally the way I would have done it? No, but, like, it is infinitely better than the old system. Like, there's water should never have been an IRL drain, and they never provided a reason why it needed to be. So the system they changed it to is good. Like, if they... Oh, drones are dying because of the quest. I put the clear skies thing down there, so drones are dying around me. But it gives me a hit mark when I'm doing that. But, like, if they wanted to get people to buy into the old water system, right, they needed to, like, have us understand the grand idea of the water system and why it needed an IRL timer. And I do not think, in a sufficient capacity, they explained why that needed to be, and so it needed to change. Personally, for me, right, if they provided a tantalizing reason why water needed to be an IRL timer, I would have been like, yeah, okay, this game isn't for everyone, but the developers have a clear vision in their mind. But if their goal was only to provide tension, right, with an IRL timer, I think there's plenty of other ways of doing that that are not an IRL timer. I mean, they just released an update with her, so I don't... Like, if you're talking about content, if you're talking about like hot fixes, I'm sure we'll see one maybe today or next week. If you're talking about like actual content, 2 months from now. Like 2 to 3 months. That seems to be about their cadence, right? Is every 2 months or 2 to 3 months we get a patch. A content patch, that is. Now, I will say, that being said, it definitely feels like they pushed some stuff back from this patch. Like, they kind of were alluding to, I feel like, units coming this patch. That might have been just me reading into it. So, maybe we'll see a patch in a month, but, like, that is just... I will fully say that's me... Even me saying that feels unrealistic, so 2 to 3 months. That's the cadence they've shown us, that's what I'm gonna say. I am going off what they've shown us data-wise, right? They haven't. If you go off their early access page, right, they mentioned a year. But, like, outside of that, they haven't really said anything. They're pretty cryptic, and, I mean, understandably so to some extent, on, like, the grander long-term plans. It could be that they don't know, it could be that they don't want to commit to something. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, like that is, I will say, like that is a very nice upside of water right now. So like excess water has an actual purpose. That is just pure upside, right? Is it, once again, is it the way I would have done it? Not, probably not, but like it solves the pain points the community have in a very simple way. So that's fine, it works. Like it is a strict upgrade over the part system, right? And while I might not love, for example, weapons right now, once again, it is miles ahead better than what we had. I don't think they do, Y7. We're getting at least some pretty rough stuff, but we're not getting like piles of shit rough stuff. Like we're not getting stuff that's so broken the game's unplayable. And if we're not seeing that, I don't think they feel that rushed, but and once again too, right, I do think they're like, the reason why I think they said a year on their early access page is they were looking at the financials, right, and realizing when at the worst case scenario do we have to put this game out if we make no additional money. And that was their projection, that they have 1 extra year of runway before they have to get it out. However, with early access comes more funds, and so they can push that kind of forced deadline back a bit. I mean, I wouldn't really, when it comes to the marketing of a game and their PR, I wouldn't really ever say that they're trolling. That's kind of a very silly take, to be quite frank. I don't think ever a CM or the PR of a company would be outwardly troll on purpose. Like maybe an individual developer here and there, but like when you actually have like a CM and like a full company, I wouldn't go that route. They won't, Pybro. Keep in mind the view this game as artist driven, right? They want to show you the art. If you are in first person, right, you do not get to see the characters that they developed, right? They're like, you get first person aiming, but for the most part, right, like they're not going to add a strict first person mode. And like for that exact reason too, right, we're not going to see, what's it called? What was I saying? There's one more thing that we're not going to see. We're not going to see PvP for that exact reason too, right? No idea. The world is, at least speaking with mod support, right, we could see infinite characters. But like viewing the game in the context of artists wanting to show off their art, view the game in that light. And like I will critique that game in the light too. Like I do think quite a few of the maps suffered from that syndrome, right? Where they feel like, you know, it's a map to show off art. It's not a map to have gameplay on. Yeah, like every single patch for the most part, Pybro, we've been getting updates to guns and like their sounds. So like it just seems like a bandwidth thing, right? As time progresses and we get more more time in the oven, we'll see more gun sounds here and there. I think it might be only Jeff doing the sound design, so it might literally just be one guy doing all of the sound. So like music, enemy effects, it's like all of that might just be Jeff. I'm not gonna lie, being a Foley artist does sound like a hoot. Like actual genuine fun. Just trying to create sound effects through just messing with things. Like, what do you do for a living? Well, I hit things together to make sounds for art and games. Oh my god, so many water thieves. I will say, the plus side for killing water thieves though, as you can see on the left-hand side, everyone likes it when we kill water thieves. Oh yeah, the stairs up are right over here. So the sniper's up top there, and the stairs are right over here. Past, like, the 5 million guys trying to kill us. Yeah, a lot of the gun sounds right now are pretty placeholdery. I would still say, like, I am not the biggest, I'm not in love with the sounds of the guns, but like, if we get diverse sound effects between each gun, it will be fine, in my opinion, even if they're not like my favorite. Just having a diverse array of different gun effects. But the Pippa doesn't have a silencer. Are you saying you want to kill me? Yeah, like that's the, like, exactly, Pyro. I don't care if they sound like perfectly like tuned to my ears. As long as they sound distinct and different, I am happy. Pippa, yeah. You could call it the PPSH if you're pleb. Is that a gotcha?
As perfect a day as any.
I don't know where I picked it up from. It might have been... Is that the, I don't think that's the actual pronunciation of it, but... I picked it up from somewhere. Hey, Delta. Is the way I'm saying it actually right, Pipasha? Maybe that's where I picked it up. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, but like that's like the right concept behind it, right? See? I'm just being faithful to the Slav squad. Like calling it AK Kalashnikov. I mean, it probably is an abbreviation. Usually a lot of Soviet firearms, right, are usually the name of the creator. I will take okay. Considering I usually butcher pronunciations, I will take me saying a word that's, you know, not English as okay perfectly. I am happy with that. Yeah, where's our tracksuit? Where's our tracksuit scav? Or come on, doing the classic Slav squad. I know like they'll only ever be props, but man, do I want the drones on this tree to become active sometimes. Imagine trying to use this extract and you just see all of the drones start like popping off the tree over here. Though I will say, until they change drones to be much more like melee oriented, it would just be obnoxious. Hey, Booter. It would be cool if we could have drones, like the Yurskan drones, be much more melee oriented with their paralysis drugs. Alright, that was a pretty good run. And we got a gacha with a lot of guns. Oh, for sure, Nam. I would like, there is always like the you know, the player versus NPC element. I do think in an environment like this too, exploring the whole player versus nature or player versus environment, like usually PvE means like player versus NPCs. I would actually much more love, or like, I would love for them to explore the environmental or nature aspect of it too, right? Like, considering that we have this post like nuclear war like world, right? You have to imagine there's plenty of areas of the world that are actually just like environmentally hostile. All right, what map were we doing? Let's do some mausoleum. We didn't do a lot of mausoleum last time. Is it time we rescue a pilot? I could probably buy a grenade launcher. Hey, Grillo. Oh, I'm actually quite poor. I didn't realize how poor I was. I can fix this, though. So I think I can? What did you sell for, by the way? You sell not as... You're worth so much more than 4K. All right, we have enough for the grenade launcher. Though actually, I just prestiged up actually, so there's no point in me buying this yet. I cannot use it. All right, let's go talk to our vendor here. I will buy a Papasha. And I will say too, the problem is, right, is like, we don't have the drum mag for this. We might never get it. And so you only ever have 35 rounds. So I just haven't removed it yet, but every single European soldier will drop 50 cal. So it's a pretty good gun if you need to scavenge ammo in raid. Like, the amount of 50 cal you get, like, so every single soldier for Europa will at least usually have a stack of 50 cal, and the stacks of 50 cal come in stacks of 30. And so, like, looting 1 or 2 Europa troops will refill your ammo very quickly. And it's not our primary because we don't have a drum mag for it yet. It's also not silenced either, right? But apparently we're not rocking silence today. Should we just go run Scrapyard if that's the case? I wish we'd do Mausoleum. Mech Trench. It's Mech Trench. Like, there's faster ways of probably getting water on, like, Scorched. But if you're trying to get the sheer volume of water, it's Mech Trench. I still think there's probably a faster run or as fast or safer run in a Scorched Enclave, but Mech Trench has that room that will just give you insane amounts of water. Not doing a Baron. It uses Nitro Express. I mean, you all know my take on weapons, right? I don't want more calibers and more guns. Not if they're replacing old guns, sure. But like, we have 43 guns in the game right now, and I probably think you could remove 15-ish of them and really not miss them. Hey, zombie. Like, you could just axe 15 guns from the game and not really lose anything. And I will say too, that's also me saying like we're keeping guns in for aesthetic reasons. Like if we were just going to have if we were going to only keep guns that had a functional niche, it would get so much more reduced than 15. But that's also me considering like, you know, keeping guns in for just the cool aesthetic factor of them, right? I like it's on this character or just in general. Like in general or on this account? Between my two accounts, probably like I would guesstimate around 400. But I would say probably to 50 to 100 of those are getting recordings. Like actually playing the game, probably around 300, and then probably like 100 hours of like me getting like recordings, right, for videos.
I hate the surface.
Yeah, I understand that concept too. I think you can just remove the ability to reload it, perhaps. I understand why they did it and what maybe they're trying to do with it, but... And like, Nem, that's a, going back to your point too, Nem, it's a, like... The way I view it, right, in my personal philosophy, if there is a clear constraint on animations and programming, I would much prefer a very small array of well-done guns with a degree of customization that are impactful over what we have now, right? Like maybe now actually in earnest they are realizing the amount of what they've chewed off, like too much to swallow essentially in regards to guns. They're having to go around with 43 different guns, make sure the camera and sights are aligned, make sure they function properly, make sure they don't play the exact same, make sure all of the mods work and the rigging works and the animation works. It's so much work with 43 guns with different models. And like that's including the fact that you have to customize them, and the customizations will change how that character interacts with the guns. And you have 6 characters of different sizes that have to also hold the guns in different ways. It is for that reason, for example, that like I don't, hey, what the, hey, what the, brawlers, no, brawlers, stop it. I didn't even shoot my papa shell yet. I'm not fucking with brawlers with the papa shell. I will lose that fight. But like, so it is like the main core issue I kind of had with the water video. I don't care they changed water. I don't really, like, tonally it was okay. The main concern I have, and this might be unwarranted, right? The main concern I have, right, is if they feel the need to rationalize changes in the game currently with like lore videos, right? Do they feel beholden to what they've currently developed to such a point where they have to explain things away they change drastically? Essentially, if they were theoretically going to axe half the guns in the game and nerf customization, do they feel like they would need to heavily explain that to the audience? And maybe, right? Maybe they should have to explain it, right? There are plenty of people, right, who maybe bought the game for customization. They might assume that extraction shooters should have a degree of customization. Like, I wanted post-apoc Tarkov. Where's my gun customization? Not realizing that, like, Tarkov has had 10 years. 10 years. Like, go to Tarkov, look at all of their guns and attachments, right? And realize that was an effort over 10 years long, right? Like, Tarkov is impressive, but you have to view it in the light that it's been 10 years in development. And in that 10 years, that's always been their prime changes and patches, is more items, more weapons, more customization, right? In the span of 10 years, we've gotten like 5,000 different reworks in Tarkov and a bunch of new guns and new mods in 10 years. And it's really cool, right? Don't get me wrong, but like that's been their main selling point. Yeah, and in Tarkov, right, all the characters are the same height and basically the same model, right? This game has 6 characters and a decent chunk of guns with a lot of different mods. It is so much work. Hello, friend. How would you like some cigarettes? And I will say right now, I will gladly eat my words if they manage to pull this off and do 43 very well done guns that are well modeled and have pristine animations and are well balanced and different from each other. Now, naturally, I am just at the highest of bars, right? Because I was very particular with my words, right? But I will gladly eat my words if they pull it off. But I would much rather have other things than them spending 6 months doing guns. Because they wanted to do so many of them. Now? I actually, Gleason, I kind of have to view a lot of the maps in that light, Gleason. Because otherwise a lot of these smaller maps don't make a ton of sense. And considering the developers are from Tarkov too, like they're not Tarkov developers, but they played Tarkov, and Tarkov is part of the inspiration, right? Like, multi-map raids was always such a big talking point in that game. So I'm sure it is going to be coming eventually. And considering we see the entry costs pop up now, like, it seems that that's definitely a route they are exploring or going toward. I can't say for certain, but it feels that way to me. Now, like, in the sense of they needed to tell the community, right, that water has changed, I understand the video, and I have no problems with it, right? I think it's being made a much more bigger deal than it is. My only problem with the video, right, is twofold, right? Is that one, tonally, it just felt a bit scoldy, and two, and and when I mean a bit scoldy, right, is that there's a very, like, slight connotation there, not very aggressive and very subtle, so it's not that big of a deal. Like, we're talking about it, but it's not that big of a deal. The other thing is like, it just raises my reservation, like, do they feel the need they need to explain everything they change in an EA game? I've never seen Tarkov during its 10 years of early access ever felt the need to explain overhauls to systems. It's just, we're changing this is the way how things are now. And like, it's cool they're exploring the narrative elements, right? I'm not saying I don't want story or narrative elements, but like, if the goal there is to try and like rationalize changes, right? It's not. It's just a fun game. Or sorry, fun gun. It go burr. Gun go burr. Yeah, Tarkov actually does have lore, right? It's an extension of Contract Wars. So like, if you read between the lines and you try to find it, Tarkov does have lore. It's never fully explored, right? But Tarkov does have lore. And it kind of does just follow the whims of Nikita. If you look at the Njai picture and you go looking, Tarkov does have deep lore. It's a bit whimsical at times, especially with things like the cultists, but like, it is there. It's different teams really too, right, Dust? Like, they definitely have a cinematic team. Like, I don't think they lost, like, any man hours. I don't have a problem with, like, the work that went into the video. It, like, once again, if the problem is the tone and just really the need to what it feels like is rationalize a change into water. If the video was more of, like, much more meta and just explaining the water changes, I think it would have been fine, right? Like an informational video. And it was that, right? But it also had this subtext or tone behind it. And once again, emphasizing, it's really not a big deal, right? Like, I'm being insanely nitpicky right now. It's just, it's a video, right, that I would go back to mentally to reference if I see things in the future. If, like, say, for example, if something bad happened in the future, I might view the water video in a different light with the extra context of seeing things in the future, right? But by itself, the video is a nothing breaker. I guess it's time for Stairway. Zombie, like, as I think they mentioned too in one of their Q&As, right? They have a lot of units that are modeled and, like, even rigged up. It's just waiting for programming. I mean, that's fair, Rodden, but, like, I would not say nitpick a lot, but I am very critical a lot. I don't think this is completable, right? It might just be an insane drop chance, like very low. We'll try it. Yeah, like, I know people were, like, missing what's it called, like the burst transmissions and the EXO, but, like, they want to see more EXO videos, right? Like the EXO video. The EXO video is great, but they're also maybe regretting the video too. Like, are we ever going to get to the point where we see an actual EXO move like that? Right now, right now you have the EXO in the videos, and then you have the EXO in game, and they're just so different from each other, right? No, but, like, yeah, in regards to units, right, we are just... They have them apparently, like, modeled and rigged. They are just waiting for, like, programming and implementation in the game, right? There's a programming bottleneck, which is fair, right? It's a small development team. That's always going to be a bottleneck. Just bottlenecks left and right? Which is case in point, less is more. I will beat the drum endlessly. Like, and you can start off small too, and then add more later. Tarkov didn't have that many guns at the start of its, like, development cycle, right? But it kept adding them, right? Tarkov actually had very few guns. I think it actually had quite, like, it might have had as many as this game, though, I will say. It did have quite a few.
I hate the surface.
But if you see, like, alpha gameplay of Tarkov, right, they started out small and kept adding guns, right? They didn't start with a giant breadth of guns and then, like, we're gonna do all these at the same time. I will say, I do hope to see the fire effects improved. I guess they're probably just very placeholdery right now, but, like, the fire effects on this map and Frozen Swamp are very, like, low quality. And I've made this point before, Lewis. I actually think I don't mind conceptually having the silhouette of an M4 or AK, but I think if you want to stylize your game, you do not want to have a pure M4 or pure AK or pure, really, anything that can be equated to IRL easily. Like, you can have the silhouette of an M4, right? Like a future M4, or a silhouette of an AK, like a retrofitted AK. But, like, there's a real issue where if you try and make your guns real life equivalents, people are going to compare them to that, right? You're going to get some discourse behind, hey, like, this AK in game functions nothing like a real AK. Hey, this M4 in game functions like nothing like real M4, and then so on and so forth, right? Like, for example, you can make that critique about the Vector, right? Why does the Vector have such a small rate of fire in the game? Hey, and before they fixed it, like, one of the first patches of the game, right, was people were like, why is the Pupashaw such a low rate of fire? And they went in and updated the rate of fire, right? Because the rate of fire was just so contrast to what the actual rate of fire of a Pupashaw is. So, like, it's just begging for, like, people to critique the guns, right? If you make them too equivalent to their IRL, like, IRL equivalent, right? Exactly. Like, Lewis, you could say that critique, right? Like, go to feedback and say, hey, the Vector doesn't function like the IRL Vector, and you're not wrong. And that discourse will always be there if they ground their guns by IRL equivalents. And so, with my whole argument, less is more, I also have the opinion, less is more, and you should also make them bespoke to your setting. You can, once again, use the frame of an AK, use the frame of an M4, but change them in such a way where they're no longer, like, very clearly an M4 or AK. So you can be very easy to explain, like, yeah, this is a future AK, right, or a future M4. It's, you know, it's the silhouette and kind of the baseline of the gun, but it's been changed by the setting. You can have familiar, yet different. Gleason, if they change, so, like, on that note, if they do want to kind of change the maps to multi-raid, I think the idea is that you would need to utilize certain extracts to go to certain maps, right? And as you can see this patch now too, the extracts are now unnamed when you try and choose them. So it definitely feels like they might be setting up the multi-raid mechanic, right? In the sense of if you want to go, say, Asha Mesa to downtown, you need to use, like, X extract, right? Vinny, while I would be honored, I am not familiar with Unreal Engine. So it would be a lot of me learning. I wouldn't be against it, right? But, like, I would be such dead weight outside of conceptual things. And naturally, developers of games are very, very well endowed with people giving them conceptual ideas, right? Saying things is easy, doing things is hard. Oh, Jacob, fair. Sorry, I misread. What did Jacob say? Jacob, like, the best thing you can do, Jacob, if you want to help, is, like, go to the Discord and, like, there's a feedback area and there is a bug area, right? You can report bugs that way, and then also, Jacob, there's a feedback area. Keep in mind, right, like I just said, right? Ideas are very easy, and ideas collectively, like, it's fun to give ideas. They're not of too much merit, because game developers, that's just, like, that's why they usually don't engage with audiences, because they get so many different ideas. It's not to say they won't, but like ideas are a dime a dozen, right? But if you're able to condense your pain points and like issues you have into more kind of high level things, it can be very valuable, right? So as opposed to saying, I want to see X, Y, and Z gun, look at it more in the light of, why do you feel those guns need to be in the game, right? Is it just because they're cool, or is there some reason that the guns currently are fulfilling where you think those guns would fix that, right? Giving them not the what, but the why is important to them, right? The why you want something changed is very important to them, because naturally, we do not know their grand designs, and so when you give them the why of why you're suggesting things, it can help that inform them on what they need to change or what they might want to change with their vision for the game. Also, the sniper's usually up here. Is the sniper dead? Maybe he's up higher. I usually see the sniper here. Yeah, and the thing is too, like Game Shift also, modding, like, there is only so much a developer can do to keep their game alive. At some point, the money will dry up and they have to move on. Modders are a way of, like, to a degree, cementing your game's legacy and keeping it alive, right? Well past its end of life. Yeah, but yeah, Jacob, just go to the Discord and like once you verify your game, there's a bug section and a feedback section. Yeah, it's a bit weird, right? How there's like in the middle of the staircase around your open, there's a sniper. Yeah. A melee system would be really cool in this game. I'm not sure if they would ever have the bandwidth to do it, but it would be cool, right? Like we have... I do want at least a slightly improved system for like bayonets, but if we don't get like a full in-depth melee system, I would not be surprised. A little bit of extra quality of life though, I would say, for bayonets would be nice. I think my main reservation with like melee right now, right, is when you melee, you get into this like very like rigid animation lock. Where like, so let me get in the light a little bit better so you can see. So if I melee right now, right, like I am currently just like stuck like in place with cement. It's like a very rigid animation. And not that I should be able to like go like full like sprinting and strafing speed when meleeing, but it's missing a lot, right? Hey, friggin' hunter killers. And I do think, right, also, I think that's a much more interesting way of doing weapons, right, and mods, is that as opposed to having all of these small little mods that don't really functionally change anything, right? Imagine like different underbarrels, right? Like you could do, for example, an M20, it's like say for example you have the M16, right? If we're keeping the M16, oh god, oh fuck, hold on. Fucking shot, hunter killers, curse you! Friggin' aggroing in the 20-mile radius. So say for example we had an M16, right? We, like, as opposed to just having the M203 underbarrel too, like you could have a bayonet underbarrel, like you can have different underbarrel attachments, right? Kind of changing the functionality of the M16 a bit. And I think too, right, like there's so many different nitpicky things here and too, right? Like not even nitpicky, right, but like balancing concerns and gameplay concerns, right? Like right now, there's a massive issue with kind of, well, I would consider there's a massive issue really, right, with the silencers in the game, right? Jacob, it depends, right? If you are a character with more than 2k HP, stalkers mean nothing really. They're annoying, but like they will very rarely actually kill you as long as you stay above the threshold. But no, so there's a massive issue right now with silencers in the game, right? Where you are almost to a degree mandated to use silencers. The gameplay between using silencers and not using silencers is massive, right? And I think having the main norm is that you should be using silencers is a mistake, right? But with weapon customization, that becomes a factor, right? It's like, yeah, guns are gonna have silencers, right? I conceptually like the idea a lot more where unsilenced guns are much more the norm, and then guns that are silenced are much more bespoke and specialized in their nature, right? And have actual trade-offs. And so when you want or expect combat, right, you know, you don't really want a silenced gun because a silenced gun's not going to be as effective as an unsilenced gun. But like right now with how the aggro currently works, right? Like the concept is this, right? You have to balance the game right now around people mostly using silencers, because why would they not use silencers right now? However, if you made silencers much rarer and really only applicable to a small subset of guns, you can balance the aggro and the stealth around regular guns, not silenced. And in regards to like the grand scheme of things too, right? The battlefields here feel like they should be chaotic enough where random guns going off left and right shouldn't be that much of a draw to ire. But no. And like, this is conceptually like the problem too, right? Is that there's just so many different like small little elements of the guns that just, once again, the guns now are so much better than before, but if you start looking at the grand picture of things with guns and like how they could make them work, there's a lot of different elements that kind of just fall apart, right? Do I need to get my revenge on Stairway? I think I do. Yeah, mags right now too, right, Game Shift? And we are kind of seeing, I will say, there's still a very work in progress right now, but we are seeing instances, Game Shift, where they are changing the reload animation, so you might see longer reloads with certain magazines. But once again, that is so much work. So much work. Like, there might be 40, 50 different mags in the game right now between all of the guns. And like most of those mags will probably have very similar reload animations, but like each large mag might have its own reload. And to make them well polished, it's just so much work, man. I would much rather have, and like that's a way you can balance guns, right? Like right now, LMGs are in a real bad way because you just have a drum mag RPK or AK, right? Or a drum mag M4. That's fairly equivalent, right? There's really not a reason to use an LMG when you have these drum mag, you know, rifles. Yeah, like, Millivans, it would be probably hard and time consuming, but like, one of my recommendations to them was exploring the avenues of like having essentially a system in the game that kind of is a heat map for sound, right? So essentially it's its own layer upon the map of the game, and essentially things shooting or producing sound kind of raise the heat map in that area, and your gun's profile when shot is compared against that level of the heat map for things like aggro or things like do they even hear it. And naturally, different maps or different effects might raise or lower that baseline. For example, night shifts might have or be very quiet, right? They might have like a very low ambient threshold. Their heat map is basically at the bare minimum. But during a day battle, right, that heat map might be so high where you could be firing fully automatic guns and only things very close by will be able to notice, because otherwise you're just ambient noise to them. And that way, right, you can have silencers still be effective, but like at the same time, like if there's a lot of fighting going on, right, they might not notice your unsilenced gun. The noisier the area, the better you are for shooting, right? And yeah, for example, the weapon you might be using might have different weights depending on the enemy, right? So, for example, if you're using a gun that's classified under your open flag, it might weight it differently against your open enemies, right? But it might attract more attention too, right? To, say, your Ruskins or your Asians, right? You fire a Scar off against your Ruskins or your Asians, they might notice that the sound profile a lot more than your open squad. Yeah, and like your opens might still investigate the sound of their friends still shooting, right? Like if they hear a Scar going off, they might think, oh, someone needs some help, let's go over and help them, right? But if they're occupied with something else, right, they might need to, like, you know, they might not consider it the same weight as an enemy. Yeah, at least I think too, just like having silencers be only for certain weapons too can let you balance those weapons, right, around certain use cases. You could just have them be very valuable too, though, right? All right, is my sniper up here? I wonder if he's a one-and-done quest too, right? I wonder if a lot of these quests are just one-and-dones. I've definitely killed him once before on this character, I believe. I usually only ever see him here, though. Does he have another spawn, or is he just like it's another one-and-done quest? I wonder if they're exploring the concept of a lot of these quests being like not repeatable anymore, or it's just the fact that this is a very early access map right now. Like between this and the Brothers quest, those are two quests we can't repeat right now. Okay, you did do it a few times, so we're just getting unlucky, I guess. Maybe he spawns up here too, or he's just dying. He could just be dying too. It's very common for NPCs like that to just get murdered. I think they kind of, I'm not too familiar with Kenshi, but like the idea of world states and things changing in the world, I think they are exploring that already. I think it's something they very clearly want to do. Immediate changes that they could do without adding in assets or super extensive programming. That's a great question. Let me give me some thought for a second or two. I mean, Honestly, weirdly enough, I'm not sure how much programming it would take. I would delete the customization. Or I would get rid of like 90% of the mods. One of my first things that I thought in this game when I started playing is this game is too early access to have this much item bloat. But no, I would probably remove most of the modifications, and I might actually just Thanos snap like 15 of the guns. Like, remove 15 of the guns to remove a lot of the, like, redundancy. You still, like, in those 23-ish, 26-ish guns you still have left, there's still plenty of, like, similar functionality but aesthetic differences. So, like, you can still offer people similarly functioning guns but, like, aesthetically different guns. Like, for example, the M4 and the AK functionally vary the same, but they fulfill a very different aesthetic. So, like, naturally those guns like that would remain. But other than that, like, right, you could, like, the G36 doesn't really need to be in the game. Half the pistols don't really need to be in the game. So on and so forth. I made a list too, but I don't have it, I think, readily available to me. Actually, I probably do have readily available to me. It's flavor. Like, I am, yeah, Ferrari. Like, I'm not saying you should remove all flavor of the game, but I'm saying at this point, right, like, there is... When it would, in a perfect world, right, of infinite time and resources, yeah, go crazy, right? Like, have all of the guns in the world and all the customization, right? But when it comes to, like, real issues in regards to bandwidth, oh man, take the chopping axe. Endgame chip, that kind of is the issue, right? Is that no matter what, like, if you start removing guns from the game, you're going to make someone upset. Because you just removed their favorite gun. Oh no, you removed the 87 target, one of the like 4 or 5 9mm pistols that are incredibly redundant. Yeah, I mean, Booter, like, that's what you would say. At the same time, there's still gonna be people upset, right? Well, Psycho, like, okay, hold on here. Let me... Time for a little lesson, everyone. Time for a little lesson on why... on why you cannot have this many guns in an indie game. Let me remove... Wait, why do I have 2 of them on here? What the hell's going on? Let me just go back and forth. There we go. Why is there... There we go. Laser. Just 1 laser, please. Thank you. I apologize for everyone in advance. You're not going to be able to unsee this. But I'm gonna shatter your conceptions on how good the guns are in the game right now. I apologize in advance. If you want to keep your poor eyes safe, it's not just the laser bug, it's the actual bug on top of that, right? Like, the laser helps highlight it, but it's not just that. It's also just about the guns and how sometimes less is more, because every single gun that you're going to see has this bug. Alright, so we have our lovely little RPK here with a laser, right? So, you can see right now the laser is not aligned with the point of impact, and that roughly stays the same. However, what is worse is you can see our points of impact, I am not moving the mouse. I am simply going between first person and third person. When you change from first to third person, your point of impact changes, right? So say, for example, you're fighting some cyborgs and you're in third person and you want to go into first person to try and like line up headshot better. The second you do that, you're already off the alignment of where you were in third person. And with that consideration too, your laser is never accurate to your point of impact. Like, it's never going to line up. So the lasers are inaccurate. They're pretty accurate, right? But they're not accurate. And then you have different points of impact without moving your mouse from first person and third person. And keep in mind, every single gun is going to have this. And so, like, if you're just like, it's not something that's immediately noticeable, but it makes the guns feel worse. And you generally speaking, when you're playing, it just makes the guns don't feel good, but you don't know why. It's all of these little inaccuracies that add up to making the gunplay feel a bit missed, and it's hard to exactly pinpoint why until you take a fine-tooth comb to it. And another thing too, right? Hold on. We'll murder these guys and then show you too, right? Well, lasers have their own issues too, right? I'll show you over here also. Like, so lasers on walls show up for the most part. However, there are certain elements they place on walls. I can find one. There's one over here for sure, but I'm busy fighting cyborgs. Hold on. So there's certain pieces of objects they place over walls that will eat the laser. So case in point right here, right? You have the wall behind it, which will show the laser, but this object, this prop in front of the wall, will just eat the laser. And these props are everywhere. And so sometimes your laser will just disappear in the terrain. Yeah, Merke, and it's no matter where you place the laser, right, it's not accurate. If you place it left, right, or under, right, they're all misaligned. John, yeah, the tug to the left, that's a masked man issue, right? Unfortunately, I play masked man, so that's just how I bear with it for right now. But that is a masked man issue. So they fixed the crosshair, this little center, like middle area being off center. That was like in the patch, the March patch before they hotfixed it, the actual like red dot itself would be off to the right. They fixed that issue, but the other bug is still there where it's going to move you to the left and then start firing. So it's not even recoil, it's just this weird bug with Masked Man and how his camera works in regards to the game. Yeah, and Psycho, for that reason exactly why is why I'm of the opinion less is more. Yeah, lasers are basically just cosmetic right now. They, like, if you need an idea of where your center point of impact is, like, your red dot and your crosshair will do that a much better job than your laser will. But okay, the other thing is too, right? It's kind of weird. But did you notice the longer we fire there, the spread goes from very tight to like comically large. This gun is not the best like way of demonstrating this. It's worse than a lot of different guns. But like the longer you fire a gun, essentially the wider the spread gets. And it gets to the point where it's like comical in nature, right? And so my TLODR is basically, it feels like it's exaggerated, right? It feels like it feels like they feel that they need to have things be almost hyperbole to make them feel impactful, but it's more about the sum of a bunch of small, very hard to notice things that you don't notice like individually, but collectively they feel grounded, right? Like a little bit of slight sway, right? When you're shooting the gun, a little bit of horizontal and vertical deviation that you have to correct for, right? Just all of these small little subtle things that aren't overbearing, but create a picture of like you are controlling your gun and you have some input on it, right? But you're still human. And like that is one way too they could diversify characters also. Say for example, if certain characters have sway to their guns and some characters have issues holding their gun steadier than others, that could be a certain perk of certain characters, right? Like say for example, Bagman or Maskman, or sorry, Bagman or Gunhead, right? Maybe Gunhead can like actually hold his guns very steady. With the downside though, he can't ADS. I wonder if I can still do this, hold on. So, go bye, babe. Hey, pissed. My god, it's a soldier factory. What the fuck? Where are all these EODs coming from? My god. Yeah, it could be a character skill too, right, Booter? Yeah, so even without the quest, please don't shoot me. You can actually still like deploy the, what the hell, where did you come from? You can still deploy the explosive on top of the mech. I do not feel safe. I'm sorry. No, we can talk about this. I apologize. No. Shoot the cyborgs. Why were there so many EODs? And to be fair, that's my fault. I wanted to show you guys the cheeky thing with placing the explosive on top of the mech without the quest. It was kind of funny though, right? I would like move across the corner to like try to move on, and then like just more EODs pop by, and then come back out, more EODs, come back out, more EODs. It literally was an EOD clown car. Oh, interesting, actually. Wait, why can't I repeat this? Did they break, like, the inability to repeat quests now? Or is it because I have one in my inventory? I'll have to go back to my main account eventually and see if I can do this. You shouldn't see this again. Or at least, you shouldn't have seen it again. Yeah, so Dust, if you're unaware, right, the circle with the exclamation point means they are aware of you, they are aggro to you, but they are prioritizing something else. We can murder a thief of the night. So, like, you know how the issue was before, right? In the December patch, that things would have that state, but they wouldn't notify you of that state? They added in that state now where they notify you, which is very helpful. I'm not a big fan of, for example, of like how, I don't want to say obnoxious. Obnoxious is the wrong word for this. How screen consuming the indicators are, but it's a very helpful indicator to have, right? Because it lets you know that like if they ever kill what they're killing, or you know the thing that they're killing goes away, they will turn their attention to you. It's a nice extra like state to be notified of. Favorite enemy. What do I like killing the most? Let's go over to the M4 for a bit. Or being killed by the most, I guess. Oh wait, so actually, context double I, or quad I guess. Is it just overall, or aesthetic, or gameplay wise? Is there a specific criteria, or just overall? Oh, 5, 6. Aesthetically, I really like the animations are a bit janky right now, but I do really like the rescue medium mech. From just like a pure aesthetics standpoint. I think it's a bug. Someone was mentioning that they currently kind of have a bug right now where you can infinitely repeat that quest if you'd like. And like that's the thing, right? Too, if you're, this is a PvE game where like it's really just about you playing the game. If you want to cheat, right? That's up to you, man. And some people want to, right? Like that's perfectly fair. Grabber is interesting. I think the grabber I'm just waiting for more functionality for. If it had like, the grabber is always going to be hamstrung by its implementation and functionality, right?
I hate the surface.
Like if you put an alien isolation level of AI on the grabber, it might be my favorite enemy. But at the same time, right? Like remember, like that's the sole enemy of a game, right? They put all of their AI efforts into making that enemy feel the way it does. So to get to that levels would be insanely hard to do. Like you had a larger studio that spent insane amounts of time making that one enemy feel good and intuitive. Yeah, like from an aesthetic standpoint, it's definitely the medium mech for your because it just looks so cool. And like it has design implications also. Gameplay functionality though, I will say, from a gameplay standpoint, I do kind of like the cyborgs a bit. I do want to see the cyborgs maybe get... Right now, like, there is a certain layout, right, where occasionally, like, you'll have it for the quest, right, Alpha Threat, but there's a certain layout, right, where you'll actually have, like, an officer or a cyborg in charge of a bunch of scramblers, and I think conceptually that's really fucking cool. I'm just waiting for, like, more implementation on cyborgs in that regard, right? Where you have like the higher command of Eurasia use them in certain ways on the field of battle. All right, where's my... Yeah, Toothy is cool. I mean, I'm not like the biggest stan of Toothy though. He has the same problem of the Orgamech, where they're just kind of like Mother Courage to like essentially all of the units that you cannot kill are kind of derpy. And so for that reason, they're not usually my favorite. Like, they're cool, but because they're so derpy right now, it's hard for me to be like, hey, that's my favorite, the Orgamech, that you can just walk around continually taunting it. The Orgamech is better, but you can still, like, punk him. You can still... Hold on, we can go taunt the Orgamech. We'll probably need to go to Ashen Mesa. Yeah, like, the pathfinding and this getting stuck on terrain doesn't help either. It's because it's one of their bespoke units, right? It's like a named unit almost. No, Rage, I like the, I think they were ignoring guns. They have done a very good job, I think, this patch of having a very well balanced time to kill, where if you start getting lit up, it's not definitive that you die, but you do not have a lot of time to react. Like, I think they have hit the sweet spot in regards to how lethal their infantry are, and I do not want to see them push it any farther. Any farther would have the AI kill you before you feel like you have a chance to respond, and that loss of agency feels really bad from a gameplay perspective. So I think they've hit, like, I think they have perfectly hit the balance now on the lethality of their infantry. And just kind of probably in general too, right? Where it does feel when you start fighting something, you have a degree, like, you need to be cautious because they do a lot of damage, but you're not going to instantly die. Like, case in point, right? Like, that hurt a lot. It was one guy. And I'm still not sure if I love stagger. But, like, I do like the current input-output of damage right now. IEDs are fun. They're kind of underwhelming, I guess, like, a little bit. You have to use a lot of them. It seems like they're almost more anti-personnel than anti-vehicle. Maybe they I haven't used IEDs in a while to kill Exos. Maybe they changed that. Is that thief bag over here? Yeah, like, well, like, in regards to, like, the TTK guy, though, I think they hit the mark for sure. There's lots of other stuff they need to work on, but in regards to, like, oh shit, in regards to fine-tuning their time to kill and the lethality of their infantry, it's good. And they've been upping the, like, lethality every patch. Every patch since, like, launch, they have been increasing the enemy's ability to do damage and their accuracy. Well, Psycho, stylized game. I mean, to be speaking, 50 cal IRL will stagger you for life because you will be dead after you get shot by it.
Getting there. Slowly but surely.
Like, the stagger is the least of your concerns when you get shot by 50 cal IRL. You might not have any concerns anymore when you get shot by 50 cal IRL. You probably won't have any, actually. Almost definitively. Well, double I, or quad I guess. We have seen that, right? Even so, they removed pop-in now, where essentially, if things were to pop in next to you or spawn around you, they forcibly move them. You'll actually see them forcibly move those units away. And we are still seeing the first instances of that reinforcement update, where we'll go to Ashen Mesa, right? You'll see these cyborg bombers now delivering cyborgs to the field. And I think the main thing stopping that from being more ubiquitous for most factions is all of the factions right now don't have that bomber, right? That logistics vehicle to deliver troops. We have the Titans for Europa, but those are only on the edges of the map. It's stylized, right, Blood? Like, this is not supposed to be a milsim, and it would feel miserable if you just got shot once and died. Case in point, for example, the medium mechs just, like, bugging out and shooting you once and you just get popped. Like, it's okay occasionally, right? But if, like, it got to the point where individual infantry were doing that to you, it would be miserable. And, like, that's the whole thing, too, right? I don't think this game should try and be a milsim or tedious. It should be heavily stylized. You are, and you are technically a weak rat in the sense of, like, you immediately die to an infantry squad shooting you for like 2 seconds, right? Like, right? And like, Blood, on that point, it's more about your ability to deal damage to big units at that point than I would say about your health. Like, most big units absolutely obliterate you very quickly, right? And all of the specials will essentially one-shot you if you're in range. Like, you are a fragile little boy now, right? And I would say, honestly, your complaint is more around medkits and the insane ability to heal from wounds, as opposed to the HP your character currently has. Thanks, appreciate it. Hope you enjoy it. Yeah, like the European reinforcements do work. It's just that there needs to be more ways of deploying them dynamically throughout the map than just the edge of the map. They could rework it to have that be the main reinforcement point and units have to move out from there, but Mesa and other maps right now are not set up that way. The maps like Mesa are divided into spawn areas and despawn areas, right? Where like units that are subject to a certain zone, if they move too far out of that zone, or you move too far out of that zone, they will just forcibly despawn. Infantry on this map and a lot of maps right now aren't persistent enough to move throughout the map. Mainly for performance reasons, right? Like, they can't have this map be entirely populated, really. Yeah, game shift, right? Well, you can have games that are supposed to be Milsim, right? But like, yeah, there's definitely the more stylized approach, and I think that's what this game should explore. There's plenty of Milsim extraction shooters. Well, thankfully, though, I will say, Gleason, tanks don't do anything to you. They do not care about you at all. Bye, Fred. Hey. I mean, the tanks are really good at killing other vehicles. They just do not use their main gun on anything outside of that. Tanks are like one of the best anti-air vehicles on the game right now. They need a little bit of help from a slope, but like, for the most part, tanks are the main killer of helicopters in the game right now. Exactly, Law, right? If I wanted to go play a Milsim, I would go like play Gray Zone or Tarkov, right? I want the stylized elements of the game, right? Thanks, appreciate it. Thanks for the support. They've kind of fixed it, like, they fixed the tanks a little bit. They still bounce around and fly occasionally, but like, they'll usually do so now in their regular state and not the destroyed state. They're better, but they're still definitely quite derpy. Alright, let's see if we can get the cyborg bomber to spawn. It doesn't happen a lot, Gleason, but like, there are instances where the Hind will just get like sniped out of the air and like, what the fuck happened? It's always a tank on a slope. Yeah, I don't know what's, here we go. I don't know what's causing the bug with the tanks, but it is funny. There's something, oh, there we go. To the moon. Oh god, that one almost hit me. See, there's the bomber there to put some cyborgs. That thing almost fucking killed me. But no, that for example, that bomber you just saw, right? That's how a lot of cyborgs get deployed now. Is that weird sound still here? I swear, like around this area, you will occasionally hear a crashing sound. And I have no idea what it's from. But no, yeah, like these bombers, right, are their first wave of like the reinforcement mechanics. And I'm sure they have logistical vehicles planned, right? Like APCs, like helicopters, other ways of like deploying infantry into the map. It feels different from last time, though, I will say, Rage. Like, they might have given it some thought, but no, the tanks are... They just can't seem to fix it. I've seen a few pictures of the T-posing, yeah, the T-posing cyborgs. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot right now in that regard, Rage, but it's still fun. That's what sometimes you sign up for EA for, right? Is seeing the crazy jank. It's always fun to see. Alright, do we have our little Orgamech friend here? Doesn't look like it. Just an Exo. I enjoy the bugs for what they are. I do want to see them fixed eventually, but like, it is part of the early access charm, right? Of just seeing absolute tomfoolery. I don't remember these lights being on in previous patches. I wonder if this is gonna... I'm kind of curious if this is what they're considering the AA vehicle to be eventually. It's also got a really interesting looking decal here, like this is a placeholder. I think it's great, Daniel. What are you talking about? Frozen Night Shift Swamp is great. The problem with drivable vehicles, right, is the second you get in one, you get nuked from orbit, basically. Everything starts caring about you existing.
It's raining bullets.
It's like the whole concept, right, of like people wanting like a scrap exo is like maybe for the underground or for the innards to like as a earth mover, but like if you bring that to the surface, right, a war machine of that size, I feel like you would get noticed so quickly. Also, imagine driving any vehicle through all the terrain right now. Thanks, Gergie, appreciate it. Thanks for the raid. But like, imagine just like clipping into everything with like a Humvee. Just so much terrain in the way. Thanks, appreciate it. Hope you had a good stream. I now suddenly want to go play Frozen Swamp Night Shift now. Entirely RNG though. Alright. Let's go see if we can't get Frozen Swamp Night Shift to populate. Any quests? Sure. And we'll refresh the quests real quick, and that works. I do hope we eventually see night shifts change a bit. I would love a day and night cycle. Yeah, Rage, it's both like a nice and bad thing though. It's seeing the hit marker get spammed and the sound effect get spammed is kind of annoying. Thanks, Amelia. Thanks for the prime. Alright, so we did not get a night shift. Oh yeah, the occasional chance to see the doggo during the day, or I guess the only night shift, or the only shift on Stairway. There's, so yeah, it's, I don't think I've seen a mom there, right? There's Toothy, there's the grabber, there's the medium mech. The grabber is definitely an issue on that map too, because it will just run around nonchalantly everywhere, and so sometimes it will just end up being in your face. It does. I would actually say, Paste, weirdly enough, if your goal is to farm experience, you're probably better off with the rack and just farming mech trench now. Like, if you want to go AFK and farm experience, you could probably do it on this map with that quest. But if your goal is speed, it's probably water barrels now and mech trench. Who's shooting behind me? Oh, water thieves. Are you referring to Dragon this map, or are you referring to Stairway? I think Stairway has a lot of issues right now. Like, if it just had more avenues up and down the staircase, like through like scaffoldings or parkour or just really anything, it'd be a lot better, but like the up and down nature of the staircase just kind of makes it bad. Yeah, Amelia, so if you're at max, if you aren't max experience for your character, the water crates will turn into 1.25k experience each, which makes them really good for farming experience. Or if you are at the XP cap for your current level or prestige level, each water barrel is 25k. So like, even if you're going for experience or money, farming water is kind of the way to go. It is like de facto just like the best loot now, as long as you're at the water cap. All right, we're gonna let this play out. Oh, for sure. Like, it is very nice that with the water update, like having a reason to get water past the cap, right? It actually has a purpose now. Blood. It's a 20mm, man. It's so derpy. Gleason, I do agree with you in that regard, kind of in that concept where a lot of the maps right now don't really have like high risk or low risk loot areas. It's just pretty ubiquitous across the entire map. It's not like a map, like, there's never the point where I'm like, I'm gonna go take a high risk here and go to this location for some like really good loot. Oh no, Tooth, my mana count lost like 300. Some people like said they were like, they actually farmed for like 1,000 to make sure they always had water for a long time, and I'm like, you know, at a certain point that's on you. Like, it's an early access game, things change. If you suddenly get 1,000 water evaporated because you were stockpiling, that's you can be upset and sad, but like ultimately you have to realize that's on you. It's an early access game, man. Keep getting all the loot. We haven't gotten any schematics yet. Oh no, we got the train schedule, so we're good here actually. I keep forgetting they changed this quest here to be only 1, not 3. Oh yeah, no, this patch reintroduced that bug. Or I guess it might be just a cost-saving measure, where like all the visual effects when you're not looking at them will pause. It was a bug before, and I think they reintroduced it for some reason. Like, I imagine it's for like performance reasons, right? Trying to save performance by not having animations play when you're not looking at them. It just, they don't restart quick enough. Yeah, I mean, some people just like the grind, right? No, yeah, like I'm not in love with water. I would have approached changing water differently, but I will admit this system for water is just a strict improvement over the prior system. It is infinitely better. Yeah, on the hotfix on Monday, they fixed the whole issue where the rep loss for killing things was insane. Well, Gleason, I mean, they tried fixing water like 2 times before this, and then they tried doing their darndest, making it as watered down as possible so people would accept it, and they realized that eventually at some point it's more philosophical. Oh, for sure. Like, yeah, we are, for a lot of things right now, Amelia, that we're definitely seeing, I think, the baseline systems for the most part. We're kind of, in my patch video, right, I kind of mentioned this, it's like, it feels like we're now beginning early access in earnest. Like, this whole kind of 6-month period from September to now has been almost like an early access to early access. And it feels like just now we're getting started. Hold on here. Alright, we're good. I forgot a flashlight, so I had to improvise. Is there one over here, actually? Sometimes there is. Alright, we're good. I don't think the ring light's blinding. Apparently they did fix the whole issue in regards to suppressors causing a lot of dust to pop up, which is very nice. So before, for example, if you use a suppressor and a flashlight, you essentially could not see when you started shooting. It was basically a flashbang in your face. But they have rectified that. Amelia, they've actually fixed that. You'll still see them pop in, but they will forcibly move the spawn away from you. So they have fixed it. It's still not great because you can see them spawn in and then get moved, but like they don't immediately murder you. It was like really bad on the Monday stream, right? Like we had like, there was some solid periods where we were just like a full white screen. It was real bad. Oh no, so yeah, for example, what would happen before is that you would come to about here, right? And there'd be a Euroskin that spawns here, and a bunch of Euroskins who spawn here, and essentially they surround you and start shooting you, right? That will still happen, but because of their, like, they introduce a countermeasure now, where essentially, if they detect that they're going to spawn a unit immediately around you, they forcibly move them a little bit away, so you have time to react a bit. So for example, when you come to this point and those Euruskins spawn, they'll spawn like around the corner here and around the corner here, and they'll still come to you and attack you and fight you, but they won't like have that whole 360-degree coverage anymore. I actually heard that bug. I have no idea if they fixed it. I guess the only way to go is from trying, but yeah, I heard that issue, right, where like if the host was ADS or something, it would like crash the game for everyone else. Unfortunately, I can't really. The community stream is next Friday, so I haven't really tried multiplayer, and I won't probably until then. Up to date, it says that's fixed. Okay, that's good. Wait, was there an update, Dragon? Is there an update I haven't played yet? That's nice to hear then.
Always a pleasure, folks.
Not too shabby. Hey, just show up, basically. It's essentially first come, first serve. I just essentially have an open lobby and whoever joins, joins. See, isn't it nice? He calls me a scav. It's so nice when I get called a scav. And like this jerk who calls me a rat. Yeah, the vacuum noise. I still think the whole concept of like having a dog companion or the scav mule like actually like loot for you would be so cool. Maybe a vacuum mod. All right. We haven't done... We did Mesa. We haven't done Cemetery yet. I think it's a cemetery time. Time to bite the bullet. Say hello to the dog. I feel like it's coming. But I feel like it's overdue, right? I feel like they're going to eventually patch out my lovely little spot over here. Let's go over to Gunhead also. I dislike Cemetery. It's not really, it's partially because of the dog, but it's not solely because of the dog on Cemetery. If you remove the dog from Cemetery, the map itself is such a nothing burger.
Perhaps today.
Okay, and I know you don't like it, but I don't mind it actually. It saves me sometimes. Sometimes I'll forget things and then see it, and then I'll fix it. So you can open these doors, right? These doors do seem to attract the attention of the dog. What I prefer is thinking with pneumatic jump. And I will say, like, you can do it on a regular character, but like, if you need a little bit extra boost, if you did not know this trick, when you jump in midair, you get a bit of extra height if you crouch in midair. So for example, if I just jump right now, I go that high. If I crouch and hit C midair, I get a little bit of extra boost, which can help you get around some heights here. And so this will let you get around the dog without having to necessarily open a door. And so we can scan over here to see if the logbook is here, and then continue on. Well, the secret, Nello, is that we are currently playing Cemetery, and we're with tunnel vision, right? So we're not trying to fight in the first place. But yeah, I'm not sure if this map or this like little exploit is long for this world, because I don't think we're supposed to be up here. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy who can't get up here? You're a good boy. And so now we can just wait for him to walk by and we can jump down and go down this way. Oh, so one of their questions in the latest Q&A is from me. And the question was, are we going to see more verticality or like more jumping elements because of pneumatic jump? And Miles was talking about how they had internal discussions, right? And one of their team members was like, it's not a fucking it's not a fucking platformer, man. And I found that response hilarious because he's not wrong, or they're not wrong in regards to Yeah, it's technically not a platformer. That doesn't mean you can't have platforming elements, though. I mean, here's the thing. You say it's not a platformer. Why do you give me this? Please don't remove it. Do I hear another dog, or did it... Is that another dog, or is that just the one we saw earlier? Exactly, Reiji. If not platformer, why can I jump? It does teleport sometimes, yeah. It usually only teleports if, like, you're being a bad boy somewhere else on the map. Like, if you're fighting somewhere else on the map and it's trapped, it will sometimes teleport out to get to you. Generally, though, it doesn't usually teleport unless you're being a bad boy. Though, that being said, you can absolutely have 2 grabbers on this map. Like, you can have more than 1 grabber on this map. It's not very common and usually requires multiplayer, but it can happen. Yeah. They have mostly fixed the sync kills. It still happens occasionally. Typically speaking, it really only happens when, like, you're in an area it can't reach, but it feels like it could path to. Like, for example, if for some reason it can't go through a doorway, it will still tend to grab you through the doorway from farther away than it should be able to. Yeah, it's very rare. I've seen 2 grabbers before on Scorched Enclave during night shifts. It's so rare, though. Mainly because I haven't gone Scorched Enclave Graveyard in forever. Oh, I need the logbook still, too, actually. And, like, conceptually, the problem with this map for me is that it's just it's a very small map, right? There's not a lot of substance to it. Like, it's just like Stairway. It's got a really cool aesthetic, but, like, once you play this map a few times, you've played it every time. And it's still refreshing to come here once in a while, right? Like, I usually play it like once or twice a session, but not much more than that. All right, there's no book today, apparently. Yeah, I have had instances of that to saying. It's very rare. There was one instance, right? It's apparently if it's a hunter killer, right? The hunter killer ones still have that weird kind of bug, right? There was one map or one time we were sniping on Scorched Enclave. We got down from our perch and, like, we walked like 20, 30 yards in one direction and got immediately just grabbed out of nowhere and killed. So it does seem that, like, if the dog ever has issues pathing to you during its entire time it spawns, it tends to do that. I think it was like a stream maybe like a week ago it did it to us. We can go sniping on Scorched Enclave and see if it can happen to us. Weirdly enough, I do get this strange feeling like there is some factor of how old your character is in regards to the lethality of certain things you get, right? So, for example, this is a fresh account, right? This is a fresh character. This account is, oh god, that's on me. This is only really a week old. If I go back to my main though, and like, my point being is this personal account is only a week old. I've gotten tons of HKs, but I haven't really seen Orgamech or Grabber Hunter Killers, or Medium Mech for that example, right? However, on my main account, the first 2, like, ish, really on my main account for a while, right, actually, I get way more, at least feels like, Orgamech, Grabber, and Medium Mech HKs. So I'm kind of getting this feeling that maybe the age of your account changes what spawns sometimes, especially regarding HKs. All right, so let's do some Scorched Enclave on that note. Mainly looking for Toothy and Pyro. That could be a factor too. Like, there's different ways they could account for it, right? For sure. And that could be one of them is experience, age of the account, so on and so forth. Yeah. The age of the character too, perhaps. Like the prestige of the character. I did notice, like, actually in this patch that, when you leave a map now, it gives you kind of a splash screen for a second before it actually lets you leave. Like, kind of like a, hey, look at this cool, like, visual of the map. And also, for those unaware, like, what we're doing right now, for example, is that we're trying to forcibly reset the quests. And so what we're doing is we're backing out. And if we enter back in, the quests are now refreshed, and there'll be a different quest in the pool, right? Well, maybe not different, but it re-rolls. And so we are looking for the Toothy quest, which only spawns off Europa. Hey, Star Fury. And I will say, as the quest log gets bigger and bigger, right? It does become kind of a pain to get these quests to populate sometimes. There we go, target locked. Oh, I haven't done this yet too, actually. I heard they changed or fixed the issue with high magnification scopes. And their, actually, let's use you. And their sensitivity. We should probably go back to Masked Man, actually. Mainly because I want to probably be able to heal during this. And I still don't have the bib magazine. That's fine. We'll still bring a Scar in. I will say, like, there is a nice big perk too of the Scar, is that because it uses the same ammo as these anti-material sniper rifles, you have two very different weapons that both use the same ammo, which just makes it really nice. Springer jump also. Hold on. I'm curious. Where are you guys seeing the hotfix notes? Is it on Steam? Is it on Discord? Are you referring to the hotfix on Monday? Oh, god damn it.
I hate the surface.
Oh, Steam, okay. Depends. I was trying to have a good time. I mean, I can still snipe here. Just a bigger pain. This is in the way. Technically speaking, all of these quest items should still spawn. It's just that, Pyro is gonna get fucking murdered immediately. Let me up. These damn corpses are on the way. Don't you make me do it. Self-defense. It looked at me weird. It's so much easier to get up here when it doesn't. Let me just go the other way. That darn corpse pile. Hey. I'm busy. Just no consideration from these cyborgs. I am trying to go sniping. Please stop. There we go. Isn't this much nicer now with you guys down there and me up here? Though I will say I didn't hit the spawn trigger yet for 2D to spawn, so I have to go back down. Stop it. Alright, here's the crawler, that's fine. So I need Toothy to spawn. Alright, Toothy spawn, we're good. So the units inside the trench will only spawn when you get close enough. So like, if we go on the rock immediately, they wouldn't have spawned yet. But now they're spawned. So now we can snipe in earnest. Alright, he's dead. Are the assaulters here too? Is that them? Yeah. Oh, there's Pyro. There's Pyro. I'm trying to help you. Stop shooting me. Wait. Is this a spread going on? There we go. We're good. All right, where's the assaulters at? Did they? I think most of them died to the, or at least one of them died to the grenade launcher. Well, I guess that's 2 out of 3. I need to go murder the other guys first. Or I guess, like, the assaulters, we could probably force them to respawn, but... The spot's great. It's like, it's one of the few spots in the game where you can actually, like, reliably snipe. And it's safe, too. It's got decent cover, too. Unlike this spot where it's a bit more exposed.
We can chart a course through if we wait for the right moment.
And I am... It feels like it's shooting high, actually. Need to aim a little bit lower. Oh, hey boy. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy playing at 5 frames a second? Got so many friends around me now. Yeah, it's shooting really low now. Or try really high. Hold on. Hold on, I'm reloading. Alright, we're good. It just proves the age-old hold issue, right? Where, what's the best counter to units that only have melee? Just stand on a rock. Or a box, right? Like, that's the real crux of the issue, is just like... Yeah, like, rocks counter all melee units. And so, like, they either need climbing or range attacks. Everything's shooting high right now? I think I'm hitting invisible wall.
Survival is an option. For very
I feel like they're worshiping me, actually. Alright, I think it's time to run. I will say, it's super cool, though, too, on this map, how, like, Toothy gets covered in ash a little bit. I mean, it would be really cool, right, Dragon, right? If they can climb walls. I'm going to get out of it, Reggie, by not thinking about it, really. Into the power pneumatic jump. See, you have to understand, fear is the mind killer. If you operate under no fear, sure, bad things can happen, right? But like, you're never going to lose because you were fearful. I will say, these cyborgs are kind of trapped my style. Hey, Mom. Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? There we go.
Hopefully it forgets us. We can escape.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Who can't grab me right now? You can't grab me right now. Hey, hey, drone! Mom, that's cheating! Mom, that's cheating! Mom, my arms! Not my arms! Mom cheated. That wasn't the rules of the game. See you, Gleason. Thanks for stopping by. And I will say, I mean, it's my own belligerence, right, that got me killed there. But being belligerent's fun. That particular scav got a bit too cocky, right? All right. Stairway time. Let's give Stairway another chance. Space. Nice, Dragon. Nice. I am curious how they're going to like counter that debacle, Reiji. Are they even going to try to? Giving units climbing, I mean, it's probably pretty hard. I don't actually know. Like, giving them range attacks probably much easier. We'll pick you up. This is probably still bugged, I imagine, but we'll try. Let's go over to a character we don't usually play. Let's go over to Scav Girl. God, I hate leveling up Scav Girl so much. Leveling up Scav Girl is like the epitome of pain. Alright, we probably need a 9mm SMG here, so we can actually carry ammo. Let's go over and get a Vitaz. And all we really need is a silencer. I'll take the bigger mag though. We need barrel B. Oh, I need a suppressor for it too. Let me go talk to him and get some suppressors, I guess. Vendors, Aramaki, attachments, muzzle device. And we need the short one that says silenced. There we go. I think either of those will work. Yep. So if you're unaware, 9mm weighs basically nothing. It's a 20th of regular ammo in regards to volume, and weight doesn't mean too much for ammo either right now, so just, you can bring so much 9mm in. And so when you're constrained by your rig space, it's basically like the de facto ammunition you bring. Do the weapons even like fit in her hands, little Papa? Or is it like entirely just bugged? Let me buy some mag jumps again too. regions, crater, and we're good. We have quests for VIP, science. Should we shoot the other way, actually? Sure, let's start at wall and go down. Let's do the hard side first. So this does cost more water, but like, when you start low and go high, there's a real issue in this choke point here, because a European squad loves to spawn right here a lot. And so like, you either have to wait for them to pass or you have to kill them. And when you have an HK on you, they are just, they are an obstacle when an HK is near you, right? Because they will aggro immediately. I mean, potentially, right? Depends on the sniper rifle. I imagine like a 50 cal sniper rifle probably wouldn't work because it probably would like hurt the joint a bit. Like the biggest impulse it feels, right, so far is the RPD. Thanks, Scholar, for the follow. Alright, we do need the data up here. Not really. There's not really been a balancing on any of the maps in regards to like loot quantity or quality. Typically speaking, the more convenient the entry point is, they typically cost more. So for example, my like prime example is the injector site in Frozen Swamp will cost a lot of water because it's really convenient to spawn right on top of a lot of quest objectives. Right, there's the laptop. Are we full? All right, there we go. Yeah, we have like no rig. We have no room for activities here. Yeah, like they could explore that route if they wanted to, right? Oh yeah, this is like all large items in here. I love actually, this is like the first crate where I feel like it actually probably has an appropriate amount of loot inside of it. A lot of the crates on Frozen Swamp are kind of eh, but that crate actually feels like it's worth drilling into, right? That one room though in Frozen Swamp, like the storage room, I love the concept of that so much. Like it's an actually like sizable small little room that has plenty of loot that you have to drill into. Thanks, Scholar, appreciate it. But yeah, AP52, like there's just not really much, like there hasn't been much, I think, thought put in right now in regards to progression and like how maps are laid out with loot. It does, you can take in a lot more of it, right? A lot more of the ambiance descending. And you kind of, too, like, instead of just seeing this wall up here, I mean, this looks cool too, right? Don't get me wrong, but like seeing all the destroyed skyscrapers around here too, and all of these, like, long, big towers with cannons on top.
Crush 'em to dust.
Those are cultists, I think. Pretty sure those are cultists. Yeah, they have scars, they're cultists. Well, they look like riders, but they're cultists because they're using scars, right? If it looks like a rider and it has a scar, it's a cultist. Are the Yodis, did the Yodis actually win? Holy shit. By the way, if you didn't notice, by the way, they have these servo arms here. They are almost assuredly meant to have like painless or like a smart gun, right? They have these servo arms for guns. It's like straight alien, right? Or aliens. No. It does kind of seem to... Yeah, smart gun. Yeah. Or like, it seems like they're planning for an eventual smart gun in the game that might be painless. It's just not fully functional yet. If I had a light, it'd probably be easier to show you, but yeah, these are definitely almost cultists. Oh, also, yeah, it seems like the squad AI might still exist, but at least on these newer maps, right, they seem to be relying much more on proximity-based alertness for friendly notifications. What I essentially mean by that is, right, is before on a lot of other maps, if you shot a unit, it would only ever flag other units in that squad to aggro to you. Now it seems proximity based, so even if they're not part of the squad, as long as they're friendly, shooting a unit will typically aggro everything around it to you. Which is much more intuitive, I think, right? I still think some consideration needs to be placed upon like stealth kills. So for example, if you one-shot enemies in the head, you can typically get around them aggroing. But it looks a bit weird, right? Because you can shoot them in the head and the body will drop in front of them and they won't react. Yeah, for sure. The brother is not here. It would be funny from like just a gameplay standpoint, right? Or like a lore standpoint, how this one guy has infinite brothers that all just keep dying on stairway. You think at some point he'd warn them? So things like this, for example, I would love, like, they don't need to have giant areas or giant things, right? But like small little Easter eggs around like areas like this would be so cool. Like naturally, we're not supposed to be up here, but it is just still so cool. Once again, if this ever gets removed, considering I am an advocate for removing weapons from the game, I cannot be mad if they remove this. I will be sad. I will not be mad. I cannot advocate for the removal of content via weapons and also be okay with this not being removed. Because it allows you to do some very obscene things that help you break the maps in game. Yeah, like this, coming down this staircase is so much more chill than going up. Now, unfortunately, we're Scav Girl, right? So we got like no loot out of this, but we got a quest done. I will say, be careful going down this way. I have died that way. It turns into a ramp, and not all of this is solid. It's the greatest thing in the world, but like, it breaks a lot of maps and lets you get to places that like you shouldn't be. And And for the same exact reason, like, doing a lot of guns properly take a lot of time, having something like the jump in the game also makes maps take a lot of time too, right? Because you have to consider the implications of jumps. And basically all I'm saying, right, is I would be sad if they removed it, but with my current rhetoric around guns and wanting less of them, for the reasons I've stated before, like, it would be almost, I feel, hypocritical of me to not be okay with the jump going away for the same exact reasons. I would be sad. I would mourn it. I would probably replace the points on Twitch with a pneumatic jump in memory of it, but I would not be sad if it went. Sorry, I would not be mad if it went. I would be sad. All right, Scav Girl. Do we even have the enhanced rig right? No, we have to buy it. I'd be mad and sad. If they removed it without doing what I said with guns, I'd probably be mad a little bit, but no. Yeah, but like, should you really be beholden to stuff like that in early access? Oh, Ash Mesa? Mesa. There we go, there's payback. So interestingly enough too, we actually figured out or found out that if you have sniper sweep and payback, they will notice each other and kill each other before you get to either of them. So like sometimes one will spawn on a rock and one will spawn inside the bunker and they have line of sight for each other, and apparently they don't like each other, and so because they aggro at the same rate, they will both turn hostile to each other at the exact same time, both shoot each other at the exact same time, and both kill each other perfectly. It's kind of crazy, actually. It's really funny though too, actually, once you realize that's what's happening. It's like, oh wow, they're perfectly killing each other. Scav Girl. Honestly, this might be a good time for the SVD. We have not, well, I say that, but at the same time, the SVD upper that actually allows for an optic is locked behind leveling this up. Which is a slight issue. Essentially, we're going to be sniping without the ability to see very long range. I do kind of find it weird though too, right, that the SV, like, I almost feel like the stock scope for the SPD should be the default. It feels weird that the stock is the irons.
It's always the same up here.
Alright, I didn't actually bring a jump this time, so I'll have to just keep that in mind as I jump up. Shooting is too easy. I will say, that was satisfying, all things considered. I hear a helicopter. It sounds like way too close than it should be. Is it gone already? Might be gone already. All right, gold brick is not there. Is that an intact drone? It is. I will say, this is like a critique too of my guns right now. A lot of the guns do a lot of jumping, but not a lot of pushing, right? And so because the guns jump a lot as opposed to push, like for some guns like this, when you shoot a shot, your ability to see where the hell your bullets are going is immediately just blocked by the gun themselves.
Enough of that sneaking around.
Like, Helldivers 2 does it really well, where the gun will jump a lot, but it will never usually obstruct your sight picture for that long, if at all, right? The only time where you get to the point where the guns jump enough where, like, it's hard to see is, like, the cannons and other, like, very large caliber guns. But even, like, the HMG in that game, right? It will jump a lot, but you will never lose your ability to, like, aim down your sights. And, like, completely lose your sight picture. You might not be accurate, but you will always see what you're shooting at. All right, is Goldberg down there? Sometimes we'll spawn down here instead. Doesn't look like it. They've talked about like custom weapons in the future, like sci-fi weapons, but like, yeah, no idea when we'll see them, if at all, right? It's definitely been mentioned in Q&As, but I have no idea of the timeline. And I don't like, I'm perfectly fine with them like not giving a roadmap, but I would like to have like grander ideas of what's coming. Or at least like the themes they're going for in certain different aspects. I do actually like, if you haven't noticed this update too, a lot of the ragdolls for enemies are a lot better now. You'll notice that like when you shoot them, their corpses will usually have a slight ragdoll effect, which is very nice. So Little Papa, so you're saying 20 years from now, we'll get there. Yeah, unfortunately no gold brick today. He didn't spawn up here. Hostile? I have noticed too, they're actually, oh, these are cyborgs actually, hostile cyborgs. Why? Let me up. Oh god, they're climbing. They're climbing. But they're not allowed to climb. They're not supposed to climb. Run! Ow. Oh god. Yeah, she is like the only character that can outrun cyborgs, which is very useful in this instance. Don't worry, I have a refuge. I know a place where they cannot reach me, that they cannot climb. Get pugged. What if they despawned actually? Looks like they're still kind of active around here. America. It feels like that's just terrain there. It feels like, yeah, we are shooting a little. It feels like our iron sights are a little low, which I actually, technically speaking, is okay, to be fair, because like if we're zeroed by default to be 100, it is okay for us to be shooting a little bit over. What are you talking about? I'm picking fights. I don't know what you're referring to. Am I abusing the fact that I can get on terrain that they can't? No. You just saw them, right? Earlier. They can climb. They can mantle. If I can get up here by mantling, so can they. This is perfectly fair. I'm not lying. Are they fighting an Exo? Oh, they're fighting an Exo. I will say, there is a slight chance up here an Exo can spawn. I have gotten punked before by climbing up there and getting basically slapped by an Exo. Yeah, it is Pace definitely one perk of Scav Girl, right? Is she can just nope out of fights if she wants to. I didn't do any. Am I really gonna do 0 quests? Hold on. I feel bad. I need to do at least one of these. Let me at least get a picture. Go into a map, do absolutely nothing but kill some cyborgs and then leave. I feel like I can get a picture at least, I feel like. Really? Snow would be cool. The only problem right now is it's hard to tell if we, if like the snow-like objects we see is snow or ash. Like Frozen Swamp actually has a little bit of like kind of that white stuff on it, right? It's just we don't know if it's one or the other. Mentally to me, I think it's ash, but it could be snow too. All right, so we're going to the other extract so that I can hopefully find at least one of the quests. Yes, Pace, I did nothing, but I did it very quickly. I was efficient with my doing nothing. Let's wait for them to pass. Though I'm a Scav Girl, I can just run by them, right? I'm really fast. See? Perfectly fine. Uh-oh, Star Fury is going on the drug route. I mean, I could easily see the case for uppers. Gotta keep your soldiers awake, right? Alright, there's HKs. What do you mean by fixed law? Can you elaborate? Like, if by fixed you mean added, then no. But if fixed as in something was broken, I need to know it was broken. They said in their recent Q&A, right, like they're aiming for like 6 months from now is when they're gonna first like have like the bed work for like endgame. So that kind of alludes to progression also. We didn't get any of our... Okay, at least I tried. I gave a solid effort to trying to do these damn quests. And the game said no. I could go back, actually. That feels like a mistake. Leave me alone. So, Law, it might be a bug, but it might be an intentional bug, where if you have your rig equipped, say for example, as Scav Girl, I had Equipment Runner on. If I prestige up, it won't unequip the Equipment Runner from me anymore. However, if I die, I won't be able to re-equip it, or if I remove it, I won't be able to re-equip it. So, like... It might be a bug, it might be intentional, but like as long as you do not remove the rig, you can keep it equipped as Scav Girl. Even if you lose access to it through prestiging. So say for example, if I'm Old Man right now, if I prestiged up, it wouldn't just forcibly unequip this container or this rig right now. All right, let's run it back. I didn't get any of my quests done. I would like to complete some of the quests, please. Yeah, like I always just felt like their leveling system in this game is a bit weird. In the context of they view when your character dies, a different scav takes up the mantle. I kind of understand it a bit more. I'm still not a fan, but I understand it contextually a bit more. It's still a little weird.
Maybe eating a bull.
And naturally, the skills are just placeholders, right? Like, sure, the skills are nothing burgers, but the skills are just placeholders. But the actual system of leveling up right now is just a bit weird. And I think they have heard the pain point of, like, it really is kind of annoying doing the juggling early game of Old Man and Scav Girl. I think they're well aware of that. They probably will do something about that when they actually touch characters. Yeah, Lil Papa, that's a good analogy up for it, right? It's like Darkest Dungeon, where it's, yeah, that class of character, but they're not the same character. Why did I pick up all the pictures? Let me just, can I drop like one or two? I think the damage is done. You only need one, and picking up more than one's bad. There we go. That's how you do the bug, okay. There's definitely a timing behind it. Wait. There we go. Shovel Mask is best mask man for sure. It's not even close. I mean, I love Shovel Maskman though too, but it raises the question of why do we not melee with it? Like, the opportunity is right there, right? Why can we not melee with the beak? And it makes a pecking sound like a woodpecker. Jacob, you just gotta get him on neck day, right? Get them strong ass necks. I'm sure you've seen people before with like who actually worked out their neck muscles and like they just have like an entire unit of a neck. Make it a skill in his skill tree, right? Like a neck workout. He's not here. And imagine if your shovel mask man or your beak mask man, like what would be more appropriate than going to Frozen Swamp and claiming a tree? And getting to work. You'll make your own innards.
Let's get it going.
All right. Give me map. That's not bad. Our uplink's worth quite a bit. Alright, trying to think. There's the container in top of the crawler. There's the container that's possibly across the bridge over here. There's not a lot more containers we can actually find on this map that might have the water map. But this could be one up here. We'll have to go through the interior of the crawler. Beautiful. Please don't hit me. What the living fuck is going on? Was there an egghead in here, actually? There must have been an egghead in here. Usually that's the only way you see turrets in here. Man, I am thoroughly confused. Well, the tank was being pushed around by the cyborgs, which is why it was, I have a lot of issues. Yeah, Valinsky, it's unfair, right? Why can't I push tanks? Oh, they have shotguns, I'm scared. Fuck it. Who's shooting me? Alright, whatever. Alright, we're going through. No container up here, I'm very sad. So now we have one way left. We can maybe find this map is over there. This is gonna hurt a little bit, but it won't be as bad as going down the other way, probably. Yeah, that hurt a lot, actually. 400 damage. Honestly, fair. I'm sure his knees probably feel like absolute dog shit. There's definitely some weird physics going around for sure. You know what? I'm not dealing with you today. What do you mean flaws? The jank is intentional, right? It's a simulation, laws. That's the actual... This isn't all a simulation and just got a buggy physics engine. Alright, let's go see if we can find our water map up top. Are you? I think you might be a regular loot container, right? Yeah.
Pocketing this for sure.
I don't need another I don't need pictures. And there's one more potentially up all the way up here. It's kind of weird. So hip firing right now is actually better than third-person shooting. So when we hip fire, it's just like a straight laser immediately. If we third person, there's at least that initial kick, right? That small amount of kick for like the third and fourth bullet. Well, no water map. We did find a gotcha, though, I will say. That's at least a plus.
Jackpot.
No, you can find it. It's actually fairly common too. We just got unlucky this runner, last few runs. Now the AA, there's still plenty of broken quests or quests that are still just like placeholders, I guess. The AA tech quest still you can't do. That's been the game since launch. Not a bad run with our friend there. I still think the quest is, this is not canonical. So for some reason, when you do this quest, you pick up like 3 or 4 pictures, it summons HKs. Why do the HKs care if you have so many pictures? It's gotta be them, right? It's not pictures of them. So like, yeah, so I have right now this equipped. If I unlock Prestige, it does not forcibly remove this. If I change it out though, I can no longer re-equip it. I wonder though, if I go over to Masked Man and throw you on, if I go back over to Old Man, yeah, it removes it. So as long as when you Prestige up, you do not remove the rig, you are fine. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a bug or like an intentional thing they did on purpose just to alleviate leveling up with those characters as long as you don't die. And like canonically or like lore-wise, it makes a bit of sense, right? Because as long as you're the same scav, why would they forget that skill? Oh, hold on, I need to sell some things I'm poor apparently. All right, what map? We haven't done a scrapyard in a while, actually. Scrapyard with actual quests to do too. I thought we did this, but I'm curious if like it's repeatable now, as long as you don't have your account from when it was not repeatable. Can I turn you in right now, actually? Because I do have one in my inventory. It doesn't look like it. Shadow sweep, sure. And like this is not the case too with placeholder, right? It says cloaked assassins, and right now all the assassins are just grins. So it's very clear like this is just a placeholder NPC until we actually have more like spec opsy or assassin type characters for Europa. And I believe, yeah, this is also on Scrapyard. That's, I think, a large item, though. We're probably going to need a container that can contain more than one large item. Let's go over to our runner. And 545. This probably works. Grins are like probably I would consider NCOs. At least they seem to function as NCOs for now. Like there are officers, but Grins seems to be like an NCO sort of ish rank. Interestingly enough, you know the E-Nuggets? The E-Nuggets definitely, the E-Nuggets seem to slot into the Grin's helmet.
I hate the surface.
So it gives you a sense that the E-Nuggets are like some form of like junk food that like can be kind of fed into the Grin themselves. And it might be like a neural like element too, right? Like it's junk food for your brain. Now, you know, you just need a large slot right now for deployables. The turrets is a bit flaccid right now, but it's still fun to use in high numbers. I think they've like shown images, RC Law, in some like not intentionally, but like small snippets here and there have very clearly shown grenades. I definitely think grenades are just like here, but not going to be fully implemented. And it could be a factor too, where they've play tested games or the builds of the game with grenades, and they just haven't found a good way to balance them yet without them feeling overbearing. Like for example, if the NPCs just throw grenades and the enemy AIs don't react yet to them, it would feel weird just to like watch a grenade of like Europans or watch a squad of European soldiers to eat a grenade. Like I think the reason why we don't see grenades is there's a lot of AI functionality that probably needs to come along with grenades. Like there's no way we don't see grenades. Like we have grenade launchers, Volinsky. So like there's no shot we don't see grenades. It's probably just more of a it needs a lot more to support grenades than just grenades themselves. Like you need the AI patterns to react to grenades, and so on and so forth, and to use grenades. And you probably also need the balancing to not have them just entirely obliterate the living crap out of any scav. I'm not gonna free you guys. You guys need to stay there. Oh well. I don't know. This thing always seems to like want to spawn. I think it can spawn anywhere, but like the last 3 times we pick this up, it always spawns near the exit. All right, we just need the crate. Oh yeah, I imagine for sure, right? When or if they introduce grenades, it will quickly be like one of the more common ways of getting murdered. I will say, I do enjoy the death animations, but that was just funny weird. So we were shooting at the Ruska female officer this way, and they suddenly just got like shot back in this direction. So it seems like the death effect or the ragdoll from getting shot is pretty static and like doesn't take into consideration the vector of the damage. Why are you so weird looking? Yeah. Yeah, okay, it is a large container, that's what I thought.
Delicate. I need time to sort.
Let's pick up 2. I'm not sure what these are worth actually, so we'll pick up 2 and sell 1.
Hey, I live for this. Wait.
Oh, and they're just playing right now for any deaths. You still would think the vector of the incoming damage would play a part of that though, right? Alright, we can use some more looting. I haven't seen the officers yet. Yeah, I believe you will see. I just want to kind of get an idea myself too. You're probably absolutely right. Wait, was that the assassin right behind me? I think he just got murdered by the brawlers, which is fair. You do not fuck around with brawlers. So they've been increasing damage and lethality for enemies every single patch, but brawlers have always just been very deadly. And so every single patch, they've just become more and more terrifying. If you're in the open and brawlers start shooting you, good fucking luck.
As perfect a day as any.
I'll take 2 out of 3. Yeah, plenty of loot. I wonder what these supply crates are worth, though. My guesstimate's like 3 or 4K. That's just a guess. I feel like I remember what they're worth, but I just can't recall. But 3 to 4K sounds about right. Heisenberg. Oh, it's actually worth 11K. That's not bad at all. It's basically a little bit less than a lockbox. That's pretty solid. Yeah, the brawlers are surprisingly quiet with their footsteps. Like, the melee brawlers, you can usually react to quick enough to not get murdered by them, but like the ranged brawlers are very quiet, and then like their RPKs will usually stagger you right off the rip, and means that you're taking generally about 1,000 damage before you can react. Alright, we haven't done Elephant Mausoleum in a while. What quests do we want for Mausoleum? Any quests for Mausoleum? Sure, we can do help civvies. Is it time for... Actually, sure, let's do that. Grenade launcher training. I did buy one. Let's go over to Riggs. Let's get our pack mule back. Let's also go find Bring Her In. So we are gonna go rescue a pilot. And you're like, why do they need rescuing? Don't ask. Their exo got destroyed. We're rescuing them. Come on. There we go. And let's get Red Baron too. We could actually do the cemetery one, but that seems kind of not wise. All right. So we have our AK. Let's bring in some ammo. Let's bring in 40 mil. I gotta have 40 mil somewhere, right? Yeah. Oh, I got 400 rounds of 40 mil. Yeah, I got plenty of 40 mil. Meds wise, let me bring in everything I got, because this is gonna hurt. And pipes is perfectly fine. And yeah, we're good. So we'll try to rescue Red Baron. If not, the Red Baron will always usually have an extra exo behind it we can kill. And then we'll use the extract behind the hangar. Maybe. I don't think so, but maybe. It could be. I don't think they look exactly the same, but it could be. My thought says no, but like I also say like it definitely could absolutely be. And they are adding more stuff to this map too, right? Like every single update we have like a little bit more like stuff and junk in the way. All this rubble and walls. Yeah, so if you have the Water Thief quest gamer, yeah, they can do that. It's one of the most reliable ways of getting the Vepr in the RPD. Alright, so we're gonna go to my spot over here. This is probably not the best spot. Like, here's the thing, right? You always want to fight from a right-handed angle, right? So you can conceal most of your body. That kind of forces you to be on this side, really.
Check those corners.
Oh, I forgot to. Yeah. One downside too right now. They do not let you change weapons when you are in the middle of a reload animation, which can be real rough sometimes, by the way. That absolutely has to change. There's nothing more frustrating than feeling like you die because you feel like you lost agency. Exo, stop, please. There's like fucking hunter killers, bad. All right, you're dead. Run. I can't sprint either. And the hunter killer. All right. Dear developers, if you have to have me stop the reload animation to sprint, let me do that. If you like, the reload animation should not lock you into an unchangeable, unsprintable state. If I have to stop the reload, that's fine. That's actually absurd. Let me, if it has to stop and redo the reload, right? Like, I don't care if I lose the whole reload animation, but let me sprint, let me change guns. That's crazy. Nothing feels worse in a game when you feel like your inputs are being robbed from you. When you're trying to tell the game to do something and all it says is no. All right, we're running it back. That was highway robbery. And like, if your whole thing, right, to Star Fury, is that like you need to pause your reload so you can run, yeah, that's fine. If that's a balancing concern, that's perfectly fine, but it shouldn't rob you of that choice. Like, if the punishment for me is I have to like stop the reload animation and restart it when I run away, fair. But I should be able to make that choice. Oh no, the meds are gone. Oh, that reset it, we're good. And like, you can, like, for example, Helldivers does, right, tiered animations, right? Like, that's a lot of work to do tiered animations in the sense of, like, say, you have reloads broken up into 3 different steps, like the unload, the magazine into well, and then the cocking, and you can tier reloads that way. That's a lot of animation work. And so if we don't go that way, that's fine. I can understand the constraint in that regard, but at least let me sprint away. Or change guns. Well, gamer, the innards, the water thief raid on your innards is such a joke right now, it's actually a boon. Because you get rewarded for defending your innards the first time. And you also get disabled guns in Vepers and like RPDs. So the water thief invasion right now in your innards is three water thieves. If you have any gun and some meds, you can really easily kill them. And naturally, that will change in the future as they refine it, but for right now, it's kind of a joke. I will have my revenge. There might be a better spot too. I will say the HKs on this map do have this tendency also to spawn pretty close by. They will not spawn very far removed from you, especially if you're in the center trench. Hold on. Yeah, unfortunately. It's cool, they still need to sync up the animations, the effects of these bombers and like the cyborg spawns. You can't like select the innards defense mission, but like the water thief quest has a lot of different parameters now that can like help you summon the quest. I believe Larry was saying that if you have the water thief quest, and if you do a raid on Frozen Swamp and you don't kill any water thieves, you can get the innards defense to spawn. I'm not sure how valid that is, but like it's definitely a thought, right? Alright, we're gonna try a slightly different area, I think. To see if we can't kill this Exo without getting murdered.
Basically, an area with a bit more cover. Is that Red Baron over there? It is. Three dogs just seems cruel. Where's the other exo at? I mean, Red Baron's over there, fuck it. Does it not do splash damage anymore? Wait, what? Armor's getting insanely unlucky right now with splash damage, perhaps. There we go. Ooh, I think I saw most of the containers, actually. So there's one by that guy, there's one right by over here, too. Alright, that wasn't it. There was also one over here, too. I think there's one on the other side of the exo, also. Where'd it go? I saw it pop over here. It's a little bit farther away. Over here. This is always the issue too with Red Baron, is like you kind of need to bring attack cam to find all of its crates. Alright, here one is. Nope, just more exo parts. Alright, is there a pile over here? Oh, last crate. Oh, I don't see Red Baron in there, so I need to go free this exo from life. Leave me alone. Let me go ahead and reload now while it's, you know, kind of in this weird spot. I need to get farther away too before I start shooting. Exo, go away, please. I can't shoot him with a grenade launcher because he's too close. I've looked at it a lot of times, Lewis, but I just like never pulled the trigger because I always like had those middling reviews of it just kind of being DOA like and just kind of buggy. Hold on. There we go. Give me pilot. HK. Was that 2 X's with no pilots? It might be, actually.
Keep it together, man. Keep it together.
That seems kind of unlucky. Yeah, I mean, like, 70% off, right? Not too much risk at that point. Oh, there's a pilot right here. Hey, Red Baron. You're not very red or barony, but we'll take it. I think it's a finished game, but like people said it's like there's not a lot of variation in the units. Like it's technically finished, right? But like the reviews I got from it basically is like there's not a lot there.
Slowly but surely. Again.
But naturally, when it's 70%, it's like 70-80% off, like, you know, $5, oh no. If you got like a couple hours of playtime, right? Like, nothing wrong with that. Our first pilot. I have no idea, gamer. I have never really delved into the whole, like I know what causes HKs, but any more nuance than that, it's entirely beyond my knowledge. I've never really delved into, like, why certain HKs spawn more than others. I do anecdotally have this experience on my older account, right, where I see a lot more Orgamex and higher threat HKs on that account than this one. I don't think I've seen an Orgamech or Stalker on this one yet. But yeah, other than that, I don't have much else. All I know is what triggers them, really. Oh, really? Okay, so yeah, like, that's just the aim diversity, right, in that game. Alright. Thanks for watching, everyone. That's it for today. I will see you again maybe Monday. New video at the very worst out Monday. It'll be a deep dive. I hope to have it out sooner than that, but at the very latest, it will be Monday. Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend, and I will see you guys Monday. Bye, everyone.